15 years of homeschooling, and every year still feels a bit like the first year. I really thought that I would have it all down by now and it would feel like a well-oiled machine. But every year I'm teaching new kids and we have new challenges and new goals and I'm a different person myself. So as I'm reflecting on homeschool year number 15, I thought I'd share some lessons that I've learned. I can't work in another room. It should be of no surprise to some of you that I can be the biggest distraction in our homeschool. So as the year started, I thought that I would help all of us out by working from home in another room for the first part of the morning, and then I would move in there mid-morning for the rest of the day. But what would usually happen is that Matthew would be in the middle of a class, or I'd be in the middle of a project, or some combination of things going on, and I wouldn't go in there for whatever reason. Then we'd break for lunch, and since we have a short afternoon usually, I'd be like, I don't want to move all my stuff in there for just an hour. And that was all well and good, but I found myself really missing those little interactions that we have throughout the day. You know, the ones where your kiddo spontaneously shares something they learned, or you have a laugh over something in a video they just watched, or they ask a seemingly surface level question and then you find yourself 45 minutes later knee deep in looking at ancient maps of the Pacific Islands or something. Right? We all have these moments, and I missed those. Because it's in those little moments that so many of our memories are created. And I missed them. And I missed hanging out with my kids, too. I need a designated spot for all the stuff that needs graded and a daily checklist of what needs graded. From previous experience, I have a kiddo already in college. I know that at the beginning of a school year, we have to help our kids form the habit of turning things in to be graded, which means, for our family, adding that as a daily checkoff item on their list. What I didn't realize would help me was having my own checkoff list. Because when I had that, it was very clear what I needed to be doing too. In addition, I set aside a spot that the only thing that was allowed to be on there was material that needed to be graded. It stood out and helped remind me to sit down and grade. So with the combination of those two things, grading, for the most part, was done pretty regularly throughout the school year. Next year, I'll have 2 in high school, and so I really need to be on it for myself. A year overview of what each kiddo was learning each week was golden. Since my boys learn pretty independently now that they're in 8th grade, well, they just finished 8th grade and 10th grade, I'm not in their day-to-day like I was when they were little and I was doing every math lesson with them and we group learned history and science and I was teaching them phonics and spelling. So sometimes I feel a bit out of touch of what they're doing. Even though I'm grading, I still feel out of touch. And since I really like learning alongside of them as part of our homeschool days, I felt like I didn't know what to really ask them to draw things out. So I created a spreadsheet and I kept it really simple. The weeks down one column for each subject, and then just kind of the overview of what they're doing, the books that they're reading and the topics they're doing in history or science. And while it wasn't perfect and some more details may have been a little more helpful, at the very least, I had something that helped me to know what to even ask questions about. And as a side benefit, it also helped my husband to feel more connected because rather than just defaulting to questions like, How was school today? What did you learn? He could look at the list, because we kept one at the dinner table as well as in my planner. He could look at the list and be like, oh, what did you learn about Vikings today? That kind of thing. I didn't expect that it would benefit him as well, so that was a nice little side benefit. My family is truly capable of taking care of themselves. I have this need to be needed. And sometimes, it's just easier to do something ourselves, right? There's no fault in that. But when you put those two things together, it can get out of balance really, really quickly. Now, add in that I was working more this year, that we started spontaneously a 4-night-a-week soccer program that I wasn't counting on, and just general feelings of why in the world am I doing it all? I knew something needed to change. So I handed off cooking more. I enjoy cooking, so I still did the bulk of it, but I handed it off to my husband and to my kids some nights. I embraced fend for yourself dinner nights. I set off-duty hours for myself. I texted my family at the beginning of the year, including the college-age daughter, and said that during these hours, Mom is completely off duty. Any thoughts, questions, comments, jokes, any of that needed to be addressed to Dad. I stopped using the phrase, can you do this for me? Can you take this out to the car for me? Can you put this away for me? When what I really meant was, this needs put away or taken somewhere or whatever, cleaned for the home, for the family. I added more chores to my kids' list. I had a frank discussion with my husband about all of it. And it all went fine. No one complained, no one grumbled. Everybody stepped up, and we were all much, much better off for it. I learned that they could really do it themselves. They learned it, and I had so much more to give of myself when I wasn't feeling weighted down by all my to-do list. If you want to learn more about how I handle teens and chores and keeping our home in order with them, check out the video on your playlist, and I will see you over there.